Cube World was a game that looked extremely promising from the very moment that I laid my eyes on it. Classes, customizable weapons, mounts, skill trees, procedurally generated worlds, and sprawling cities were all features that were present in the game's alpha that made Cube World quite the attractive game for me. Combine all those features with a modern and robust blocky feeling and you've really got yourself a game. Putting all of that aside, however, there were a few issues outside of the game that really dragged it down. These issues concerned not the game itself, for the most part, but the developer, Wolfram von Funk, or just Wally for short. No, not that Wally. This Wally. Yeah, there you go, that's the one. Cube World back in 2013 had a very stable development cycle, with constant updates and screenshots about the game's progress that served to feed the community's hype and excitement about the game. But then, one day, it was just total silence. No screenshots, no messages, no anything. Just complete and utter nothingness from Wally. What was once constant informative updates on the game turned into pure, unadulterated. I've seen comparisons of Cube World's community being a bit cultish, and I have to say, they were a bit of a cult in some ways once Wally left without a word. There was an unofficial Discord server for Cube World that had an Offerings to Wally channel, and a Signs of Wally channel that kept watch over any and all updates from their now disappeared developer. Then the days turned into weeks, the weeks turned into months, and the months into years. There would be the occasional spark of updates from Wally during these 6 years of almost silence, but nothing more. And then it happened. 6 years later, during October 2019, Wally finally released Cube World to the public on Steam. People were overjoyed at the fact that Wally had finally made a return, and that fans got to play Cube World. And then they actually played it. Needless to say, it was not looking very good. First of all, the gameplay had drastically changed from what was shown in the alpha build. Gone were the skill trees and the customizable weapons. In its place, you had artifacts, which acted as a form of scaling progression, and I honestly like that idea. It's just that artifacts boost your stats by too little for it to make much of an impact early on. Huh, that sounds familiar. I wonder where I've heard of artifacts not making very much of an impact in the gaming world. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I just can't quite remember where I heard that from. Anyways, if Wally had kept in the skill trees and the customizable weapons in combination with boosting the rewards you get stat-wise with artifacts, then that would be really enjoyable, and it would keep things very interesting. I mean, in terms of character progression, that is. But that's not the only major thing that changed with the release of Cube World, however. People were quick to realize that, when they went into a new region, all of their gear was made null and void because, for whatever reason, Wally thought it was a great idea to region lock your gear. This forces the player to quickly find new gear and weapons, lest they be destroyed by the area's enemies. Why Wally thought this was a good idea, I will never know, but then again, we don't know why he decided to leave for 6 years and only pop in from time to time either. I will admit, however, that the music is decent and does have some nice tunes that fit very well with the voxel-based setting. The music also gets the job done, that job being providing something catchy to listen to whilst you're traveling from place to place. The graphics, as I've mentioned before, for this game are very impressive, with vibrant, robust, and picturesque colors, sleek and smooth visuals, and well-made biomes with a color scheme for each that doesn't feel out of place, and fits the whole blocky aesthetic of the game, and I have to commend Wally for what a great job he did in that department. I know that his wife also plays a part in developing this game, but I don't know the full extent as to how much she's really worked on it. If she worked on graphics too, then great job to the both of you. Anyways, Cube World at this point feels much more repetitive and boring than it did with the alpha due to the controversial changes that were not originally present to begin with. I had originally expected the full release of Cube World to be a more expanded version of what was already there with Cube World Alpha, adding more gameplay elements, lore, loot, and just more content in general. What we got instead was a more watered down and bare-bones skeleton of the alpha, and I have to say, even though I was a tad bit hyped, yet still cautious, about this game, I wasn't expecting to be this disappointed with it. There was a really fun game in Cube World at one point, but it eventually crumbled and changed due to lack of communication with the fanbase, and possibly other outside factors that we're not currently aware of. Now that I've covered gameplay enough, I think it's time to talk about Wale himself. I personally think that Wale needs more staff working on Cube World, because it's obvious that the stress that Cube World is giving him is taking its toll. He even said in an earlier interview that he just kind of mentally broke when the original Cube World store, Picroma, got DDoSed all those years ago. I somewhat sympathize with Wale, as being a two-person team and developing your game with just yourself and your wife must be extremely difficult. But I really do think that he should have asked for help with Cube World earlier, as this soon became a project that was pretty much too big for just two developers. There is absolutely no shame in asking for help when you need it. Rome wasn't built in a day with just one or two people, you know. Cube World was a game with so much potential. I could have really seen myself enjoying this game at one point, but with how it is now, I think I'll pass on this one, for now at least. I really do hope Wale makes a comeback with this game someday. Hopefully not in another 6 years though. This game still has potential, and I believe Wale can make a comeback if he just asks for help when he needs it. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and set it to all to stay up to date on all my latest uploads and future content. I'll see you all next time, and I hope you all have a great day.